Hi there, it's me, Stephen Thomas with Reports on Housing, coming to you with another housing debrief. But first, wanted to jump right into where are we at right now. This is the middle of August. At the very start of August, we saw rates really come down. So they've been at these low levels for a couple of weeks now. And we're starting to see a little uptick in demand. Nothing major, hasn't really, even though we're starting to see these lower interest rates with duration, it takes a little bit of time for it to really start to hit the marketplace. So we've had inventories rising a little bit, demand up a little bit. So the market time overall has improved slightly, but it's still really good compared to where it was in the spring as far as a buyer is concerned. It's what we call a buyer-friendly market. So we have these lower rates, we have more inventory than where we were definitely at last year, and we have more inventory where we were at the beginning of the year. So this is a really good patch right now to be a buyer prior to things really rocking and rolling when interest rates come down a little bit more. So that's kind of where we're at right now, but wanted to get into improved housing affordability and wanted to talk about with these recent drops in interest rates, what that means to purchasers that are out there, because there is a definite impact. Interest rates have an impact on home affordability, and home affordability has improved quite a bit. Now, the argument, of course, is that interest rates at 6.5% are way higher than where they were in the past when they were in the threes and even in the fours. So yes, that is correct. That at 6.5%, it is still really expensive to get into housing, but it is a definite step in the right direction. We were at 8% back in October, and we were at 7.5% back in April, and floating right around 6.5%, bumping right around there is a lot better than where we were in the past. And this is only the beginning, and interest rates will come down further as the Fed continues to cut rates in the future. And I wanted to talk about the increased buying power. Now, the increased buying power, you could see here, this is if you are a buyer and you're looking for a $5,000 per month monthly payment. And there's a lot of people who are going to say, that is too rich for my blood. I'm going to do another one for $3,000 per month. But here I am in Southern California, and $5,000 per month is kind of a average payment. So if you're looking at this, $5,000 per month at 7.5% is $893,000 home. So this is with 20% down, just principal and interest. You're looking at an about $94,000 home. And when it was at 8% back in October, that was an $851,000 home. So you can see as interest rates rise, things become less affordable. But we went all the way down to 7 and then to 6.5%. At 6.5%, you're now looking at a $988,000, $750 home. So almost a $100,000 improvement in purchasing power. And there is a definite argument for getting into the fives. It might not happen this year, but it definitely has the potential based upon what happens in the economy. So, and if you want to know how the interest rates work, interest rates kind of when we start to get these negative readings on the economy, we even though the federal funds rate, what the Fed controls, is flat and it has not changed, you're going to get a change in interest rates because it's paving the pathway for where they believe that the Fed has to go in order for them to take care of their dual mandate, which is keeping inflation in check, which it has been, and then maximum employment, which that's where there's been some erosion lately. So you can imagine if we got into the fives, you're looking at, even at 5.75%, you're looking at over $1 million home. So big, giant change in purchasing power going from 7.5, where you're at 893,000, to 5.75, where you're $1,071,000. That's almost $200,000 in purchasing power. So you can see that it totally grows for purchasers looking for a $5,000 per month payment. Now, now there's also a $3,000 the desired monthly payment. And very similar, it's as rates go up, you can afford less home. So for that $3,000 per month at 8%, you're looking at a $511,000 home. In April, you're looking at a $536,000 home. Today, you're looking at a $593,000 home. So you could see that your purchasing power is absolutely growing. And even as we get towards that 5.75% that I talked about, you're looking at a $642,500 dollar home. Now that is an extra $100,000, over $100,000 in purchasing power. And so you're understanding exactly what's going on here, that these drops in rates are going to help buyers afford more home. And you can already see how the pathway to home affordability is getting better. It will continue to get better down the road. But like I said last week, do not wait for the Fed to make these rate cuts. This is a really good opportunistic time for buyers to get in right now, and I'll explain more of that later. Because I also want to talk about how it lowers your monthly payment. Now, if you're looking for if you're looking at a mortgage payment on $1 million home with an $800,000 loan. That $800,000 loan was in April $5,594. In October of last year, you were at $5,870 per month. That's an extra $3,312 per year from 7.5% where we were in April. But you can see now that we're at 6.5%, you're now looking at a $5,057 payment. That is an extra $6,444 per year. And you can see once you get to 5.75%, you're saving $11,000 per year from where it just was in April. So while you have purchasing power, if you're looking for a specific price, you could see that your payment is going to be less and less and less if you stick with that price. So that is definitely something opportunistic for buyers to look at, as well as if you're looking for a $650,000 home with a $520,000 loan. You could see the same thing at 8%. You're looking at an extra $2,160 per year, versus right now you're looking at saving $4,188 per year since last April. And in that example of getting to 5.75%, you're saving $7,212 per year. This shows you, it's a very good illustration for why there will be more demand as rates drop. It just becomes a lot more favorable for all those millennials and Gen Ys that have been sitting on the sidelines, can't wait to purchase, but things just need to become more affordable. So in large, these generations have been rooting for a market crash, but that's not what's going to happen. Instead, they're going to get this crash in rates. I can make an argument within the next year or a couple years for us to get into the high fours. And you're thinking, Steve, that's absolutely silly. But we're at 5.5% right now, and there is this thing. I'm not even going to talk that much about it, but there's this spread between where long-term bonds are and where interest rates are today. And normally there's a typical spread. Well, that spread is extra wide, which means interest rates are really high. That spread will come down as we have less uncertainty and the Fed stop talking as much about being so dependent on all the data, and things are more of an even keel. We don't have inflation, jobs is fine, and all that stuff. And there will come a time where that happens and that spread will shrink. Well, right now there's an extra percent in interest rates that are already baked into where interest rates are today. So when we're at 5.5, 6.5, they should already be in around 5.75 or a little bit less than that. And you can imagine that as interest rates come down to, let's say, into the upper fives, that it can come down that extra percent that I was talking about. Now you're in the fours, and that will happen down the road. When exactly it happens, when it shrinks, it's already shrunk a little bit since December of last year to where we are today, that the spread got a little bit better. You don't know about this. This is what we follow. But down the road, the spread will shrink more and go back towards a normal range. And when that happens, we will have much more favorable interest rates. It's not happening yet. It's not happening soon, but you get in now. You get in now. Why? Because what we're forecasting out is appreciation. And I'll tell you why. Because rates are lower. Rates are already lower, and it's going to instigate more demand. And there won't be a ton of extra demand this year, but it will definitely come next year as rates are a little bit lower, and we have a spring market that will match up against those lower rates. So the Fed is set to cut rates in September. We've talked about this last week, that they will cut these rates come September, and yet the interest rates today already have baked into where today's rates are the interest rates cuts coming in September, also projected in November and in December. Right now, there's about 4 rate cuts that are projected, and there could be a half. They'll only meet 3 more times, so that would be a 0.5% either in September or November, the day after election, and then the other, and then one in December. That would be a 1/4 point. So there's going to be 1/4 point drop, a 0.5 point drop, and a 1/4 point drop. But this is already baked into the equation. But as the economy slows more and more will be baked into the equation of future rate cuts come the beginning of 2025 as well. So we just don't know how everything is going to work out. They said there's going to be 3 rate cuts for this year. Then it was down to 1. Now it's back up to, we don't even know yet. The Fed will meet again in September and talk about how many rate cuts that they project for the rest of the year. And they'll announce whatever rate cuts they do for September as well. So it's constantly changing. Even though they say one thing, they're looking at all the data and looking what's going on. And then they are recalibrating. They're changing the strategy based upon what they see. So as far as those buyers that are out there saying, I'm going to wait, that's just not a smart idea. We've talked about it before. Now really is a good time to purchase. And the reason for that is because what's going to happen is as the markets are about to hit the peak, and then we're going to see supply go down. And as interest rates fall a little bit more, we will watch demand either stabilize, remain flat, or go up. What that means is that with supply coming down and demand kind of increasing a little bit or staying flat, the markets are going to get hotter for the rest of the year. And that's for fall and the holidays. Then come next year, as we have rates even lower and we have less of a supply because supplies peak out and then they drop to the beginning of January, we're going to be off to the races next year. So that's already kind of what we're seeing based upon what's going on in the marketplace today. So what that means is that there's going to be more competition for houses. As the supply dwindles, there's going to be more scarcity, and that is a recipe for values to go up. So it's best to get ahead of all that competition and ahead of values that go up and purchase sooner rather than later if you're in the marketplace, because demand is going to definitely increase. We'll get more homes come on the market, but demand will outpace the number of homes coming on the market, and home values will rise. So, and there's also this rule of thumb that's out there. So every time, if you lock in a rate and you purchase, or you've been a homeowner and interest rates fall a full percentage point less than the rate that you have, your prevailing rate that you closed on, then that is the opportunistic time to refinance. So down the road, even if you bought today at 6.5%, and I talked about interest rates making their way lower, when they reach 5.5%, rule of thumb applies, and that is a time to go ahead and refinance. It's this great rule of thumb that will help you out. The number of times you can refinance is as many times as your little heart desires, but there is a big change in payment. When it goes down a full percentage point, it really makes sense to refinance, especially with rates being as high as they are. You'll refinance to a much better rate down the road. And if you did that, yeah, your payments are a little bit higher until you refinance down the road, but you will have locked in at when values continue to rise. And it really makes economic sense. We did a recent report that talks about that, of why it's a really smart decision to pull that trigger right now based upon where values are going to go and rates are going to go in the future. So if you like what you see, please like and subscribe to our channel, first of all. And secondly, if you want to be a subscriber to any of our housing reports that dot each of the counties in Southern California, including Ventura, and also the Bay Area, as well as Phoenix, Maricopa, and Vegas, Clark County. So go ahead and go to reportsonhousing.com, subscribe. It's $15 per month or $150 per year. And the the most recent report that came out is called Go for Gold, Don't Wait. And I explain exactly why, based upon differences in appreciation and also refinancing and things like that. It's a fantastic report that is extremely timely based upon what's going in the marketplace today. And if you want a free month, utilize the coupon code POWER for a free month. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you tuning into another housing debrief. Hope you found this very informative. And you know what? If you have suggestions for other reports on housing's debriefs in the future, please comment and give us ideas of what you're seeing out there or what you'd like to hear. We're here to absolutely help. We're not here for clicks and we're not here for giggles. We're here to help out so that people can make really good, solid decisions based upon the real facts and data. So that's what we're about, is setting consumers' expectations. So with that said, I hope you have a fantastic finish to your week, and we will see you on the other side.